So Jamuni Didi has asked a very nice question about, I made this comment quoting from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, says that after one has come to the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev, Sri Guru, and surrendered there, one should lay down the sword of discrimination. And Rasik Mahaprabhu has also said that prior to coming to Gurudev, we have to use our discrimination. We have to see, we should examine. Guru should examine disciple, and disciple should also examine Guru on the basis of Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. So that process is there. Very, very important understanding. And that was the doubt that raised in my mind this morning when I was thinking about this, is that somebody might say, there's so many controversial things being said at the moment, and we have to use our discrimination. Right? But not to Gurudev. It's something that I think I'm probably 80% of the way there. You know, sometimes you have a question in your mind that takes, you really, it's one of those questions that's been in my mind for many years. Reading that verse of Srila Bhakti, not that verse, it's a quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and actually, for me, it's been very helpful, because I was saying that I always sit in one place and always hear. So that's one of the things where you can say to your mind, no, Gurudev, I don't understand why Gurudev is doing this. I guess it's really particularly relevant with Prabhuji because he's very difficult to understand. But I know. How do you know that Gurudev is Uttam? So people are saying, come to us and say, how did you know Srila Govinda Maharaj is a Uttam Mahabhagavat? How did you know that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj is a Uttam Mahabhagavat? Usually those people asking me, they're disciples of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So I say to them, well, how did you know? Oh, but he's Prabhupada. Right? Same thing. How do you know? Because how do you see the sun? How do you see the sun?
It's revealing itself.
Yes. You see the sun by the mercy of the sun. The sun reveals himself to you. So Gurudev reveals in your heart. But then, people are saying, oh, you know, my Guru is Mahabhagavat. Why do you like him? Oh, I like the way he plays the cartels. You know, I've had that also. So, you know.
Because you can get attracted to a charismatic individual.
Right.
Get attracted, yeah, and then you just...
There's many charismatic...
You become groupie and then you say... Well, Sasha gives definition of groupie, huh?
Yeah. Can I make a controversial joke? Sorry, on this video. I was going to say the other day, it used to be difficult to find a Mahabhagavat. Very, very rare, right? Shastra says finding Mahabhagavat is very rare. But now I know how to find, because you go to the ISKCON and find the band list, and they're all Mahabhagavats. It's easy to find. It's not that easy. It's something. It's a very. You can see the critical point here on that bad joke, that if Gurudev has revealed himself to us, there's some symptoms there. I was discussing with the Rose. Also, another not semi-controversial, but I said that the Acharya, I was speaking about Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when he preached, in many places he said, you know, there's this whole thing where this general label of the Gaudiya Mat, right? And the Gaudiya Mat is this catch-all phrase for people. So within our Sangha, within my godbrothers at Srila Gauranga Maharaj, Bhubaneswara, there's many of those people that I wouldn't recommend you go and hear from. Right? So in the same way Prabhupada, because when the Acharya appears, like when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left, and Prabhupada rose up, particularly for us Western devotees, and became a prominent Acharya. He's traveling and preaching Krishna consciousness in the Western world. He's then attracting every single living entity in this world comes here because they're envious of Krishna. And the Acharya is the single most prominent representative of Krishna in this world. So it's natural that he will attract all of that envy. So if you find when you're close to the Acharya, one symptom is that so much criticism will come, so much envy will come. It's like a symptom, right? You can see it really clearly, like the founder Acharya leaves, and then the next prominent person arises, and then first of all the world dumps their envy onto Krishna consciousness. It's not so hard. The Acharya can deal with that. That's what he's here for. He's come here to deal with that. And then maybe other institutions will envy him or other things. Then his own god brothers and god sisters will attack him, and ultimately his own disciples. I won't go into that here, but if you actually look at all Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Govinda Maharaj,
a minority of them. It's not.
I think if you see every Gaudiya institution has been attacked by Kalichulas, has been invaded by Putin.
Well, you could expand that to most religions.
Most religions. Exactly, it's God, right? Envy of God, this is the thing.
Also, Kali specifically infiltrates.
Kali specific.
Sabotage.
Yeah, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written very clearly about this in many different places. So what we were saying about discrimination, it's very subtle, but when we hear from Gurudev, we should not challenge that. Before we come, we have that, and I'll come back to the point, which was we should examine. And I think this is very important, it's very topical now, because we see even within our own Sangha, we have gurus roaming around, coming into towns. Somebody comes to a program for the first time, they're initiating, and then they've never heard of Krishna consciousness, they're not following any principles. There's no maturity, and then when they go away, they take some pranami, there's no training, there's no follow-up, there's no follow-through, there's no care, there's no love. And what we have here in Radha Kunj is exactly the opposite. We're taking people, we're feeding them, we're looking after them, we're giving them a place, we're giving them training, we're giving them full program, we're giving them 10 hours of kirtan a day, 5 classes, video, everything is there to care and nourish the devotees. And that's why I'm here. I guess we'll do a video on that tomorrow.
Maybe also with this idea of laying down the sort of discrimination, I think that can only really be done when kind of maturity and bhakti comes also. Neophyte people, that's why they need to be taken care of like infants. Because they don't have the sort of discrimination to lay down. Maybe you could speak on that, like you have to have this sort of discrimination to be able to live. So that, some people, when they're very new, you're spiritual infants, like what do you know? And so I feel like that's why the training is so important. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes an article about that in the Society of Gauranga. He ends his whole vision of Gauranga society with this statement of, therefore, people should be trained up to train people to train others. He said you should start a school. He said directly, you should start a school, train people of integrity to help care for the spiritual infants properly. And then they can develop discrimination, and then they can eventually give it up.
Yeah, mostly we're talking like ahead of us, ahead of our our level actually. We are, like you said, you are just infants. Like, we should encourage people to hear more. Now they have to assimilate. Because this level of knowledge is far past their previous material knowledge. They should open to this realm to hear more. Then later, they have proper discrimination. They can choose. Just like you said, you will sit in one place and hearing, not jumping in there. That's after you have this idea, of a fixed like hearing. But before that,
Well, there's also spirit incubation. That's one of the D's why it's good to stay in one place. Because you get to incubate and you get to develop.
And take the whole process. Like here, if you follow the whole program here, every part of the program feeds into the next part. And I find the Acharya does that also. The power of the prayers we chant before Mangalati, nobody else does that. And I talk to devotees here, I find that especially powerful. So when you come to Mangalarti, or if you go out with Krishna Karunya in the morning, you chant 32 rounds and then you do those prayers and then you go to Mangalarti, it's like supercharged consciousness. Everything becomes like, it breaks through the coverings of the material energy a lot better. Otherwise, you're in Mangalarti and you rolled out of bed and you haven't even had a shower and you're just dull. Nothing happening. Some really good points there. What came in my mind just then is, at what point do we lay down the sort of discrimination? I think, speaking back to what we were discussing yesterday, that it has to be earlier. Because people are coming, you're bringing new devotees in. When they accept Gurudev, at that point, you should be preaching to them and say, okay, you are making a choice. So be very careful. Take 1 year. Use your discrimination. But when you come to that point and you go to Gurudev and say, I want to be your disciple. I am dedicating my life to you. Tanavan Manobir. Then you lay down the sort of discrimination. This is like surrender. It's like a knight coming and going, okay. Because we can't say, oh no, these are just babies. There's sometimes people come to this Krishna consciousness movement way advanced of myself, like most of you seeing in front of me. I'm coming from like hundreds of lifetimes back. So we don't know. But when we have come to Gurudev, don't come to Gurudev and keep that, I'm still checking Gurudev out. Or taking initiation on a fashion everybody else is taking.
What about
most people? Some of them are like this.
I know.
They want a position in the sangha,
They want a position in the sangha.
I'm not initiated, so I'm not here already. So I take initiation. So actually, they are not really surrendered.
One other thing is
because the proper diksha means after sadhusanga, then you take diksha, yeah. But most people is like before sadhusanga. This is rather initial phase at this stage. They take Harinam, take Diksha, maybe even.
That's what I like. Srila Govinda Maharaj, I was there for 6 years, he didn't give me Diksha.
Can I make one point? So we're talking about laying down the sort of discrimination, which is a great topic. But we're generally talking about the idea of there being a Shuddha Mahabhagavat Guru, that you can lay that down to. But, practically speaking also, we see lots of people take initiation from not Mahabhagavats. And those people may fall down. And so at some point, you may have to again use discrimination to leave or seek out from the Guru. And there's rules in Sastra about that process as well.
That was my doubt this morning. Because, yes, people do come. I remember one of the problems in our Sangha is that we had been looking after devotees for some time, and then one morning they were taken away and they came back and said, I've been initiated. My name's such and such, and my name's, maybe I'm still this, but he gave me that name, but I didn't really want to take initiation, but they kind of gave me a name anyway. And I was like, okay, what's going on? So then they said, Gokul, what do you think about us taking initiation from this guru? And I was like, well, maybe you should have asked me before you did it. Yeah. Right? Since I've been looking after you for 4 years.
You're already pregnant, having a kid.
Yeah, you're pregnant, have a kid. What do you think about my boyfriend? Okay. And I said, this personality is very elevated. He has served our Guru for many, many years, night and day. But he's not revealed himself to me. I'm not sure if he is Mahabhagavat or not. Actually, I know, I didn't say it, but I had some doubt. So my answer was honest. So I just said it in this way. I don't know if he is this or that. But there's no harm. Of all the people initiating on this planet, he's very qualified and he knows all Shastra. And if at some later point you realize that he's not that, there is a process. And this is part of our line. So then you can apply that process. So afterwards, 4 years later, somebody came and twisted their mind. Gokul said that to you? Oh, he's putting doubt in your Guru. And they came back to me and I said, why did you say that to us? Why did you try and put doubt in my Guru? I said, no, I didn't put doubt in your Guru. I stand by everything I said. And I think that was perfect now. The more as the years go on, I see more and more that this was actually the correct thing to say. So, and it's very interesting. What you're saying is correct. Even in our Sangha, even here, everybody wants some prominence. Everybody wants some position. Because that's how material conditioning. You know, the Ritviks are so successful. If you go in their temple, all of the people have a room and they have a nameplate. Vice President of Food Distribution, President of Food Distribution. You know, like in some company, it's like material ambition. They're taking that.
It's a perverted reflection of a desire for belonging in the spiritual world also.
It's a perverted reflection of belonging in the spiritual world, but it's also the result of...
We want our stan, you know?
Yeah, position.
All right.
One position.
It's one of the Ekadash Bhavs. But it's perverted reflected here, right? This Ekadash Bhav is you have your boss, you have your special seva.
This is high consciousness. Yeah, I just think of some material office that I've been working in. He's thinking of the gopis in the spiritual world.
The Ekadash Bhav, you have your boss, you're your own resident, and then you have your special seva.
Yeah.
You know?
So sweet.
Your special
But you also
aspiration.
mentioned the Vaishnava Abhima.
Yeah.
Vaishnava Pratishtha Tadaka
Yeah,
Vidishta.
Vaishnava Pratishtha. Like you have the position in the Sangha,
Huh.
seva, everything, then you are settled, you know, you're steady. If you don't have any position, nothing holding you,
Yeah.
then
Really
you
told
are
me
just
that.
wandering, you know.
I'm feeling really wonderful at the moment because I'm the chapati cooker.
Really told
Last 3 days.
me. So, the conclusion?
The conclusion is Stanistata Shrutikatam. This is everything. That's the conclusion. Just be simple. Saralatva se Vaishnavatva. I think if we wrap it up, simplicity is Vaishnavism. Just be a simple Vaishnav. The more simple we are, don't try to see Guru. Don't try to come from the mind and the intelligence. Pray to Lord Nityananda. I want real Guru. I want his Adi Guru. You pray to him and say, I want you. I want the real thing. You don't see Guru. Guru sees you. You spoke about that the other day. You know, like having that consciousness of going to have darshan of the Thakurji. Higher consciousness is I go so Thakurji has darshan of me. It's such a beautiful thing. Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say, if you go to the temple with your wife, you should make sure she's very beautifully dressed. Who would think like that, right? She should have all beautiful bangles and nicely. So Thakurji will say, oh, very beautiful lady. Taken care of nicely. Those are those wonderful Vaishnav culture things that you would never, because so when we came to Gurudev Sangha first, my wife always made sure she was very nicely dressed. And everybody here was like really renounced, white cloth and no makeup and nothing, no bangles, nothing, like they're all widows. And they were like, oh, who's this bogey couple coming here? You know, Vishais. And she was like, oh, nobody likes me. Everybody thinks I'm too nicely dressed. I'm like, I don't care. We're following our Guru Maharaj. We're talking about this Abhiman, right? Of how we dress, like this is my Abhiman, how I should look like a Vaishnava. I was thinking, what do I look like? I look like what my Guru Maharaj told me to look like. One day I walked out with my cloth like lungi, no fold in the back. I'd come from outside. I came at 10 o'clock in the morning and we'd been traveling, so I had no clean cloth. The only clean cloth I had was one chadar, but class was going on. So I ran to the brahmachari ashram, I threw everything quickly. I put my kurta and this lungi and I sat and I listened to the class. But I was with my microphone, so everybody's walking down the stairs and I was walking a little ahead, and then Guru Maharaj stopped and he said, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, and I don't know. What? He goes, why have you put your cloth like this? I said, oh, Guru Maharaj, I didn't have a clean dhoti. And then Jagadish said, oh, you know, he's always trying to make a joke. He said, oh, he's a Tyagi. And Guru Maharaj says, yes, Guru Tyagi. So that's like, so I never ever did that again. So
Okay.
that's the question.
Pre-question for tomorrow.
Pre-question for tomorrow, yes?
Cliffhanger for tomorrow.
Okay, this is coming tomorrow, last class tomorrow.
How to understand the difference between a Goshtanandi and then someone who just wants the prestige of being a preacher. What is pure preaching? Like, what is it to be a pure preacher and to have ananda in that versus just the desire to be that?
So the question is, what is it to be, this is a cliffhanger for tomorrow, what is it to be a pure preacher and have ananda taste in that preaching versus being somebody who wants to go and preach perhaps for lava puja pratishta, for name, fame thing. Very nice topic. I'm already got so many streams coming, so that's for tomorrow. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo.
Radharadi, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel down there, share with your friends, ask a question in the comments, and check out our website, kripa.tv, for courses, to support us, and for our articles and more. Haribo.